Okay, I promised you we'd look at some of the snowfall coming to BC this weekend. Our first bomb has already moved off on to greener pastures. Following up will be another event, sort of out of the same soup of unresolved stormy material that's out there in the Pacific. This next one will probably achieve bomb cyclone status as well as it pushes up and in. Atmospheric river conditions still more or less happening down there in California right now. We've had thunderstorms off the coast today. A lot of lightning out there, actually. We've had a couple rotating storms, possibly tornado on the ground, whatnot. But that's all been, most of that's been down there in Washington and Oregon and places like that. Nonetheless, next storm's coming up to BC and it's going to bring a bunch of snow. Let's talk about all the bad news on the show. And speaking of bad news, was it bad enough for the people down there in Whatcom County? Man, check that out. Trees over, right through houses, on top of houses smashed, fences smashed, roads blocked, and similar scenes are playing out in Vancouver Island, I'm hearing today as well. I'm hearing that people are still without power in places that there was a big tree down in the road near Tofino. Look at this car smashed. Absolutely, this has been one amazing event, and there could be more coming. Let's go with the bad news. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later.
Keep on going to the water.
They dry mopping this. So we've finally seen our wind warning on Vancouver Island mostly subside, except for the one in North Vancouver Island. I'm sure that will soon too. I'm sure the special weather statement up there for Bella Coola and whatnot for Haida Gwaii will probably subside pretty soon. We do have, I missed this earlier today, it came out shortly thereafter, so sorry about that, but there's a snowfall warning that's going to continue on to Thursday morning, 15 to 20 centimeters up there in the Paulson and areas like that, if you're going up the Creston Pass. However, currently, at the moment, it seems fairly quiet, but I don't think that will necessarily stay that way. And there is still up in northern BC, this guy we were talking about earlier today, snowfall, maybe 10 centimeters coming to you still today if you haven't got already. Most of the snowfall warnings in Manitoba and Saskatchewan are now starting to subside. Our storm in the Pacific, our superstorm, is still at 966. In its central low pressure. So 966 millibars. I would say that's still a very strong and potent storm at the moment, despite maybe not being what it was. We still have a ship out there hitting 86. So some of the waves, I know Josh Palmer sent me some photos today of some fantastic waves that he was witnessing on Vancouver Island. He was out chasing. I imagine he was probably on this far west coast there by Tofino somewhere. That's where I would go. So we see how the stream still is going from Portland all the way to Spokane, and it's spilling a little bit up into the BC side. That's maybe what will spill into you this evening down there in the Kootenays, and a little bit of precip up there in the north. Along the north coast still possible, but more or less the storm is weakening. It's going to continue to weaken, and it won't be him. That's the real problem. The real problem is going to be the next guy coming. So we'll just fast forward, watch our guy move offshore, watch him continue to weaken overnight, weaken more rapidly during the day. Still have the fire hose pointed at California, still all kinds of precip, more precip. Here comes the next guy in behind, and watch, it goes from 1,000 Thursday. We'll say Thursday at 1,500, maybe it was at 1,000. And if we go ahead to Friday at 1,500 and we see how much it's dropped, this probably does achieve bomb status as well. More likely than not. First storm has already moved off. Second one comes up in behind, swirls on in, gets down low, sends snow into the Rockies. A burst goes into the prairies on the weekend as well. That crosses in the prairies. Cold air is still fighting, trying to come down, trying to fight. And this is my concern, is what kind of cold weather we're going to get. I'd really like to see more storms. Maybe late next week, we'd like to see more storms. The air to the far, far north, we got minus 20s, minus 30s at times up there at night. Very, very cold air, and it keeps pushing. And luckily, we've had these storms to kind of push back on them. And that's why Monday was colder than Tuesday night, and we expected Tuesday night to be colder than Monday night. So luckily the storm pushed hard enough in to kind of force that cold air back. And that's what we really want to see, because we don't want to see that cold air coming down into the southern interior. And it does seem to me that we're at risk of that. We're at risk of that. So I'm hoping to see a little bit of a change in the forecast. But we do have this snow coming through this weekend. First storm moves off. Look at that high pressure in the United States. Suddenly it's like pretty nice there, except for the east. Except for the east, they got a good storm there. But our next one, it just came out of nowhere, 974. And now the weekend, it's hitting into the coast of BC again. Another wind event. Maybe, most likely, at least along the coast for sure. And then high pressure trying to establish itself across Western Canada. Some of this low energy is going to jump across into the United States, and that should sometime next week maybe produce a significant event with some snow on the backside and some thunderstorms and tornadoes on the front side. So we're watching that, but it's this cold air I'm concerned about. We see that H dominating most of Canada. We see those blue lines dominating most of Canada. It means that no one is getting above zero at any point of the day for the most part, right? So we'll play through one more time, watch the graphic, see some of the strong winds still along the coast there, some of the strong winds in northern BC. Things a little calmer in the south, but some of that snow still moving overnight, pushing up in some of those bands that we did see already showing up in snow, coming into southern Alberta a little bit as well. So that should be the thing that helps form your snowfall event that's coming at you. Our low weakening by morning time, almost starting to become occluded, wrapped around in the cold, choked itself off, and it's out there, it's surviving, but it's not that solid of a deal anymore. Thursday, snow band maybe moving through the South Prairies, maybe through Saskatchewan as we come into later part of the day. So we'll be watching for that for you personally. Here's where our next storm is already pulling itself together. Watch quickly on Thursday as it goes through. So a secondary event gonna do not quite what the last one did, no, but some of the energy is unresolved. It's not been able to come on shore because the very cold air, the high pressure that's out there is blocking it. It's not been able to really move in. It's just been throwing waves and waves of precip down into the U.S. coast. Some thunderstorms down there, some possible water spouts and stuff have been going on today, I think. Right? So Friday, 3 a.m., still hammering California, man. There was a stream of constant water on you, constant water in California. And the next round of weather now, in time for Friday morning, given a little bit of a visit into the south already. So we know there's some colder temperatures kind of out there to work with. Prince George maybe seeing, double digit cold at nighttime, for example. A lot of you seeing below zero at night. Maybe not in the very, very far south in the deep valleys, but the mountain passes, of course. And look, where did this storm come from? Suddenly 977, it's charged, it's ready. When we get the update here, we watch that band of snow come up Friday through the day, maybe rain in southern BC, but that band of snow maybe quickly moving through the Caribou, but maybe establishing itself more so in the Prince George area, that band moving into Alberta, down the Rockies as well, catching a bit of a gap there through Friday evening into the central interior, Williams Lake and whatnot, and on down. And of course, you're in Kelowna. It's always the garden spot there. You've always got the best weather. Saturday morning now in Fort St. John, up along that northern section of BC through the Omanika, through the Babine, all the way to Terrace, down through Edmonton on the other side, over into Calgary. The heaviest snow into southern Alberta on Saturday. The heaviest snow moving into Saskatchewan through the afternoon on Saturday. So a large prairie event coming for you. Hold on, because you've already seen in some of those places, not where this is right now. They got a bypass in the last one, but eventually it's going to make its way into those more eastern parts of the prairies, and that should give you even more snow than you already got. And we see some of that now working its way into southern BC on Saturday, into Sunday morning. So, overnight, midnight, whatnot, and that low suddenly weakening off, and we can see the cold air trying to force itself down, trying to give us a blast of temperature we don't want. So we're looking at some messy roads on Friday and Saturday in BC, Sunday, especially into the eastern part of the prairies. But the prairies having multiple days of snowfall for you, multiple days. So it's going to start stacking up. It's going to start looking more and more like wintertime in the prairies. And my big concern is this big H, the 1034, 1035, 1034, that's very, very, very streaming cold air up north. So I'm very concerned that we're gonna be battling this Arctic weather, and at some point the models might change and we might have that come on down. In the long range, it shows it coming at us, but I don't trust that yet. I don't trust that, and it could even come sooner, or we could have a change. This is what I'm looking at. This is the next story on the board for us once we get through this next bunch of storms and whatnot over the next number of days. So when all is said and done, looking at some snowfall totals, southern BC, and I kind of warned you about this in past videos, southern BC seeing a good swath over the next bunch of days, and we watch that extend into the prairies over the weekend, into the southern Manitoba and whatnot in time for Monday, and watch that even extending. And look, we have snow developing and piling up in eastern Canada, so maybe some big snowfall events there, maybe some big messy events. Crazy amounts of snow over the next bunch of days. I don't know, 41 centimeters in the next 5-6 days seems like a lot, but it's not crazy by BC standards. No, but it may be that Friday, Saturday are days where if you have travel plans, you might want to rethink a little bit where you're going and pay attention to Drive BC in your forecast and things like that. And although the mountains are starting to take a lot of snow in BC, still the Chilcotin is reporting pretty much none, and same with the West Caribou, not much, and only so much in the Prince George region north, a little bit up there, more so here in Wells. And if you go into the big mountains not far from us, you go in the mountain tops even, I'm sure over a meter exists in the mountains up there already, in through the Kootenays. Lots of snow starting to pile up in the Coast Mountains. So it's snow season's going to be epic. It is coming, everybody. Anyways, that's a little update on this weekend's weather story as far as I know so far. So we'll keep our eyes on the prize, try to do what we can here. Thanks so much for the wonderful support. Some people have become channel members or Patreon members. Some people have got a super, and you can hit the thanks button down there and do a thanks for me. A lot of people saying how there's been power outages all over Vancouver Island and how they've been relying on my reports to help them through all these things. So that means a lot to me to hear. As I don't want to just do this for the sake of talk, and I want to do this to make a difference in people who need and want the kind of weather information said the sort of way that I say it, the no bones kind of way. Anyways, I'm going to go watch a hockey game, I think, after I'm done editing this. So take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning, I think. Maybe in time for the podcast tomorrow night. If not, okay, bye now.